gentlemen, you know him, bringing to the stage Charlie LeDuff. Woo! He's so silly. He's silly. He's silly. Come on now.
I think I hurt myself.
Oh, did you really?
No,
fall?
I didn't.
Come on
I
up.
do that all the time. Can I lower it just a little bit? It's right in my eye. Good evening. Hey, kid, I cuss a lot. You might want to get offline now. I didn't get the phone call. I was in the mountains of Vermont working for the New York Times on a story, so I'm in the mountains. I don't get the message until the following morning when I'm at the airport. It's from my wife's friend, and she's hysterical. Charlie, where are you? Amy's in the hospital. Baby's coming early. And I don't want to be that guy. You know, that guy doesn't pay attention to his kids. I don't want to be my dad. I didn't want to be my stepdad. I didn't want to be my second stepdad. Okay, I was working, but when you think about it, a workaholic and an alcoholic's pretty much the same thing. The woman at the counter says, sorry, sir, there's no flight for you until next Sunday. I vomited. I did, I vomited right there. Some old white lady, the janitor, cleaned it up, was cool, and then the lady at the counter did what they could do, and they got me a flight. Burlington to Chicago to LA. You gotta run in Chicago, it's gonna be tight. We land in Chicago, and the stewardess says, ladies and gentlemen, a man is trying to make the birth of his child. If you could stay seated while he goes up the... They didn't do that. They all got in there. They wouldn't let me around. I mean, fuck Chicago. Let me get to, I know you've been there, right? Boring. I don't get it. It's the thing with Chicago. I get to LA. I call my wife's friend. My wife has not delivered the child yet. Lion Queen. 24 hours of labor. She holding on. Lion Queen. Give yourselves a hand. Hi, babe. They're at home. Hell no, they're not coming out. Still COVID. So, what was I at? So, okay. I get there. My buddy picks me up from LAX. We're flying up La Cienega. Just flying. We're going to get to the hospital. We get caught by a light. Beautiful night. I remember it was Sunday. The moon was huge. It was yellow. The stars in LA don't twinkle. Did you know that? They know it's something to do with the desert and the ocean, but they're dead, but the moon was alive. And there was a dude at the crosswalk, like 10:30 at night, kind of lit, La Cienega, right? Okay. And I just feel compelled. I have such joy. I roll down the window. I go, hey, bro, I'm going to be a dad. And he says, what are you going to name it? I go, I don't know. He goes, name it Alexander. I go, what's your name? He goes, Alexander. You know, in LA, anybody walking around at 10:30 at night, we got a name for him, suspect. Just saying, it's a culture thing. So I get there in time, my Lion Queen. And they swaddle the baby. I see the baby be born. And just a sidebar, I just thought of this. Why the fuck did they hand it to the guy first? Like it's a trophy? Like, I had but 90 seconds to do with this thing. You know what I mean? And they're giving it to me. That's like barbecuing. Dude, you don't cook at all year long, and then it's barbecue time and you get the meat. Like, you know how to cook. Just, it's fatherhood. I get to do it. They give me my daughter, and I look at my daughter, and I introduce myself, and I said, hi, my name is Charlie. I am your father. This is all true. This is true. So all this is true, so I wouldn't bullshit you. I said, I'm your father, and here's what I can tell you about life. I do not wish you to chase happiness. I ask you to chase contentment. Follow contentment. What is that? Contentment is the great Om. It's the rhythm of like, yeah, go for happiness, but If you always try to say happy, you're going to crash. It's a narcotic. It comes and it goes. And then there's self-loathing. That's the dip. You want to find equanimity. The great rhythm, nature requires equilibrium. It always seeks it. It's the natural law. Yeah? That's the song of the night cricket, is it not? I don't know. I'm going to have a beer and go listen to crickets when I'm done. So we go home the next 2 days. We're able to go home. The ladies take a nap. I shave my whiskers. I wash the puke off, and I go to my writing desk, and I write that story from Vermont, and it was about the Green Party candidate for governor, okay? And his platform was Vermont should secede from the United States. The United States is so fucked up, we can do it alone, which is interesting because it presages all the MAGA thing and all the discontent. And so I found it to be interesting. Plus, he was funny because he was a stage actor from Vermont, and he dressed like Ethan Allen, the general from the Revolutionary War, and he walked around town with this shit, right? Because we should secede from the crown. And I was like, that's cool. That's a great story. I can do that. And when I went to interview him, this dude, he's just a stage actor, but he wanted to look good for the New York Times and our camera and stuff. So he's walking up the old country lane with a horse. By the way, he can't ride it. He just thinks it looks cool. And I'm like, that's great. And so we're interviewing him, and this, like, you know, he's got the woolen on and the epaulets and all this stuff. And this horse, he can't control it. And this horse is... And it was great. I wrote it, my baby's here, I press send. They're gonna love that in New York. But they don't love that in New York. I got back from the fancy editor, one that grew up in Paris and went to private school in Boston. What happened to the professor you're gonna write about? This guy's a loser. Everybody you write about's losers. We have to talk. Don't laugh. Here's the serious part. That's what they think about us. They're calling you losers, my people, working people, factory people, people without a job, people from the Midwest, people from a broke-up town. We're not fucking losers. There's more of us every day. You don't get it because you were raised in a soapbox somewhere in the sky. I fucking quit. I quit my big shot job because I had a new job anyway. Stay-at-home dad. Oh, it was cool. If my daughter's watching, honey, I love you so much. We have all of that. The first word, the first tooth. She used to eat leftover curry like at 8 months old. It was awesome. That was the best job I ever had. I mean, I was lucky I could do it. But then I learned some things about LA. Yeah, right on, thanks. See you after the show, you can buy me one. Because I didn't get toast for my 30th. I'm kidding, babe. It's gonna be great. You know the Sunday's gonna be great. So what I didn't know about LA is the streets are like wild. You mean you drive them, but when you actually walk them with the preambulator, this isn't safe. It's nuts. It's isolating. There's not a green space, like a little park, for like 2 miles. You got to walk like Sunset Boulevard, Santa Monica. You're like this. I didn't like it. Then I imagined my daughter. We're from you. We're from here. We don't got nobody out there. And I'm thinking, I can see my daughter now at 14 years old with the blue mascara. The eyeshadow? Like too much of it, and a halter top that's too tight, and her little budding breasts, and I'm like, we gotta get, this is. So I wrote about it for Vogue. Big shot, leaves the big time, stays at home and feels sorry for himself while he's staring down at a diaper. Anna Wintour, you know her? She commissioned it, Devil Wears Prada, Anna Wintour. Yeah, it was cool, man. It caused a shit storm. I mean, women from powerful women, like writer women, New York Times, Washington Post, they nailed me. Basically, they call me an erection in print. No, why would they do that, I'm thinking? Because I think I struck a nerve. I don't know if it was when I wrote about getting kicked out of the Mommy and Me yoga class, the injustice of that. Or maybe it was when I was drinking wine with the Latina mommy, nannies in that park. I'd bring the wine, we all hang out. We're all girlfriends. It's great shit. They give me pointers. They did. And then they told me, like, yeah, you know, I think sometimes the child loves me more than his own mother. In fact, the child does call me mommy. And I could understand why a lot of powerful women would write such things, because it was true. Because that yin and yang, that contentment, if I can have this career, but I got to give this, and that ultimate bar is not where you need it, don't chase it, fuck it. Nobody from the New York Times, no jet setters, not my guy friend covering Afghanistan, not the guy that covers West Africa, you know, all my friends, all the big, nobody wrote me about that. But I did get one letter about 2 weeks later. I know we're not supposed to have prompts, but they're not paying. Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. Look at this. And California at the time was $3 billion in the hole, and the dude's stealing stamps. You want to meet a little bit? Want to hear a little bit from me? That was pretty funny, wasn't it? We didn't even rehearse it. I just came up with that. Okay. I'll just start from the, not too, okay. So he wrote, Governor Schwarzenegger writes, and I know you've got all kinds of advice from friends, from opal-like wisdom to complete ignorance, so I don't have anything to add to that. Just know what you're doing will be more fulfilling than any of your wild adventures. In fact, it may be your wildest yet. Any father would die to have the life you have. He had read it for what it was, a rambling confession of self-doubt. And he was telling me, dude, you know what to do. Follow your heart. Follow that own. And he ended with this. If you ever start to feel unimportant, you're wrong. But you can always relive the glory days, tell people about your buddy who can lift you with a single finger and runs the biggest state in the world. Or give me a call. I would love to hear about your new assignment. Sincerely, Arnold. So I know what to do. I'm the 10th generation Detroit. The founding of the city's my people. My native side of my family here way before that. My daughter's the 11th. I've got aunts. I've got uncles, grandma. I got steps. I got everything. Everything that I am is here. You always circle home. That's your own. So I took a job at the Detroit News. Hey, hold on. Thank you. Yeah, like Detroit. Wow, it's a reporter's wet dream. This place is nuts. I'm in the weird business, and in Detroit, like, you don't go to look for it, it finds you. Okay, reporters, we're leeches. We're merchants of misery. We're bloodsuckers. We are. But the stories, my God, a man's lying dead in front of, the 911 center, where the police got to swipe in. It's the 911 center. There's a guy lying dead right at the swiping place for 6 hours. Well, that's a good story. Famous councilwoman, I'm interviewing her. She's wondering if I'm wearing a wire, and she says, "Are you wearing a wire?" And I said, "No, madam, that's a roll of quarters, but I'm flattered." I really am. The ultimate story was the frozen guy in the elevator shaft. Y'all remember that? The 2 feet sticking? I did that story. Basically, a man got high. He died. They threw him down the elevator shaft. There's a lot of water in there. It froze, and the only thing was 2 feet sticking out. Dozens of people knew he was there. Nobody did anything. They left him. Man, fuck it, right? So I wrote that. How cold has the collective heart grown? I know things are tough. But if we lose each other, we lose everything. Call the police on that. Naturally, the media ripped me up like I did it. Like we called the police. You didn't call 911. I'm like, you believe that? Everybody knows you call the police, they ain't answering. They didn't answer. It was everything in an elevator shaft. So we lived through it. It's okay. I'm tough. You know what I'm saying? The daddy and me thing, I lived through that. And I'm just fine, no problem. But through it all, my daughter really starts to become a woman. She's growing, and I see it in her. I don't, grandma's stories, the history of we take a ride, and she said, Pops, how come people don't love the buildings anymore? It's a really great question. What are you going to say? I said, it's not really important. It matters if people love each other. And she seemed content with that. Because that is the truth, madam, is it not? So children, how you doing? Forgive my swearing, I'm sorry. Apologize. My daughter, I think, believed it until Sergeant Ken Stiles of the Detroit Police Department led a special ops team, barricaded gunmen, that kind of thing. Ken Stiles never had one abuse complaint in his 20 years on the force. Ken Stiles never discharged his firearm. One time in 20 years. Ken Stiles is the guy you call. He doesn't know you. I got a maniac who just shot his father, and he's running around shooting at other people. No questions asked. He shows up, he takes one. Leaves a widow and 2 boys. His widow calls me and says, can you please, I'm at Fox 2 at this point, can you please bring your camera? There's something I want to tell you. I said, sure. I come over, she says, I forgive the man. I forgive the man. There's too much hate in the world, and love will save us. And I think the man, if he knew what he had taken from these 2 children, he wouldn't have done it. How profound. That's why I really do the job. I love that. It's things you'd never get to see. And then came Ken's funeral. Magnificent, you've seen him. The carriage and everything, the pomp, the circumstance. And at this one, there's a placard. Sergeant Stiles, who gave his life protecting people he doesn't even know, and they unveiled it. Posthumous promotion. Captain Ken Stile. Let's all do that. Captain Ken Stile. Come on, do it with me. Do it with me, for real. Do it with me. See? Yeah, that's nice. So his plaque's on the wall, and the wall of dead in the police headquarters, except his wife, to this day, receives Sergeant Ken Stile benefits. To make matters worse, the woman and her 2 children were denied insurance benefits because of the bankruptcy. So this was bullshit. This was bullshit. What about their contentment? What about their protection? City Hall decided to make a movie stunt out of this shit. Just think about the leadership. They represent us. You don't lead me. You get done what we asked. And you did that. So I went home and I cried. Look, I watched the towers fall, and I covered ground zero every day for 365 days. I did not cry. I watched a church in Baghdad get blown up on Sunday. I did not cry. I do not cry. I cried. And my daughter came in, and she laid on the bed with me, and she put her arms on me, and she said, what's the matter, Pop? And I explained to her, and I said, I tried so hard. It's not fair. And my daughter says, that's okay, Pops. You did your best. You're trying. You know. And you have to be content with that. Now, I don't know if there's some grand cosmic thing going on. I don't know if it's kismet or destiny, or it's from my mother's stories, or what it may be. I think it's probably just a father and a daughter. And that's going to have to be good enough. Now, she's learning to drive. and I'm the instructor. And because I love you too, when she runs the stop sign or something like that, I bawl her out. I bawl her out. And she turns to me and she says, you know, Pop, you're making me feel bad. And then it dawns on me that one of the biggest inhibitors to her contentment is me. But we're just gonna have to roll with that. That's the balance. I've got her, she's got me, we've got Detroit, and we've got you. Thank you and happy Father's Day.
Charlie LeDuff.